Hey guys, this is Ben and Josh in Montreal. We wanted to show you today some lock features or some lock ideas for your cargo bike or for your regular bike. The first one I wanted to show here is the Avis Protectic 4960. They make a couple different frame locks, also known as cafe locks, and they can mount right onto the bike, often in the mount for racks or fenders. This one, however, on this bike, the frame is a little bit fat, so it doesn't fit this mounting here. So I've attached it with zip ties, as you can see, but it's very solid, like that's not going anywhere. So what you do with this, simply, this key, it comes with two keys, put it in the lock, push this down, and that shackle goes right through. So all that's doing is going through the spokes. This is prohibiting the wheel from moving, so it's a very quick temporary lock. Say you're going to run in and grab a coffee, that's why it's called cafe lock. Or you're doing something but the bike's visible, but you do want it locked, you can stick that on and nobody can ride it. Just be careful though, a word of caution, you don't want to forget that it's on, because if you take your key out and forget and then try to ride, you could potentially break a spoke. Especially if you have a lot of weight on the bike, that force could break a spoke. So just be careful with that. And then it's a nice snappy sound when you put it in and open it, like that. So an option when you buy this, maybe you can get it from Avis in a combo pack. I haven't seen, when I bought it, it was separate, is this chain. That's the model number, if you're interested. So all this is a loop chain. You're going to put that through and then place this into the lock here. Do you want to go around the other side of it? And
Sure.
Then we'll get a shot. So this is not going to be as secure as something like a U-lock, which we'll get to in a minute. But it's so nice and portable and quick. So if you have something large, a post, a lamp stand that you can't reach around with a U-lock because you have a limited width, what I do when I lock this here is actually go around the frame, through the loop. Now we have both the frame and the frame lock mounted to that pole, and then that pops in like this. So now we have this stuck in here. So this is better if you can get it around the frame too, of course, because if it's only in here, I mean, I don't know how crazy somebody would get, but if they had a large jackhammer or a mallet, maybe they could pop this off, break your back wheel, and slide this whole thing out and just steal your frame. I've backed it up by locking the frame to it as well. Whenever you can with a lock, try to get it around the frame, not just the wheel. And then this one is, it's got quite a name. This is the U-Lock U-Grip Plus 501. It's quite weathered, but it's holding up well. Real thick silicone all over it, so it's not going to damage your frame anywhere. It's got a key like this. It comes with two keys. One has a LED light, which is nice at night. It's got the little dust cover. Keeps the water out too when it's raining. And then this one has a 13 millimeter shackle. So pretty thick. It's not something as thick as like an 18 millimeter on a forget about it lock, but it's pretty robust still. It's going to take some time to cut through that. And then again with this, of course, you want to go through your frame. So I put that right through here. There's a perfect gap just by chance between the fender and the frame that this thinner part will go through. Nice and tight there. And then put it on and lock it down. So I'll say one thing about this lock. I like it. Perhaps it's very hard to pick. I don't know about picking locks, but sometimes I find the mechanism, even though it's well lubricated, sticks a little bit, like right now. So I do find it's a bit finicky, if that's a word I can use. It has to be slid on almost perfectly before it can lock. But it's been pretty good. I think if I were to buy a new lock, I might go with something like a Kryptonite, just because I've been a bit annoyed by the way this mechanism works, to be honest. But the frame lock I love. When I'm working downtown and my bike is like right behind me, I'll just put the frame lock on just behind the wheel, and that's it. Then I can just glance over my shoulder as I'm cleaning a window and I see that my bike is there, or I see it in the reflection. But it's just a sense of security to know that somebody can't just jump on and ride away.
Yeah, so if you're converting your service business into a bike or a cargo bike based business, so do you have to be worried about someone stealing your bike while you're working?
Not with a frame lock.
Why?
It would also work with somebody like a bike messenger, because I've seen bike messengers walking around with much smaller, lighter U-locks and then just sticking it through a wheel here or on the back.
Because the bike is so heavy that nobody's going to pick the bike up.
Bike messengers will often just do that and then walk in the building. And their bikes are light. I mean, somebody could just grab that, put it over their shoulder and walk away.
Yeah.
But it's for the quick in and out that you're going to do. But again, like Josh said, with this bike, it's 50 pounds completely empty. Dry weight is 50 pounds. As soon as you add a box and start putting on cargo, you're going to go up and up. Nobody's going to carry this over their shoulder. I have a hard time carrying it when it's empty, just because it's so long, awkward. It's about 8 feet long.
So this can replace a van in most cases.
Depending on what cargo needs you
or
have,
a small truck.
Could definitely, I mean, DHL is converting in Europe to a lot of cargo bikes. And they're actually using a mechanism that slides different boxes right on. But the possibilities are endless. You could build a box as large as you want. There are other boxes as well that are low profile, so that you can still steer. And then they come up to eye level in the front. So I mean, I've seen bikes with boxes built all across the front like this. So it's really up to the user on what their imagination could come up with.
Yeah, so no fear in someone stealing a bike. You just have to be equipped, and you've got to have street sense and some gumption, so as to lock it in the appropriate ways as needed.
Yeah. So I think the key would be big burly locks. U-locks are always going to be the strongest. Some of the folding locks, I've seen videos of a guy just hitting it with a hammer at the joint and simply breaking those apart. So I wouldn't recommend those as much as big burly U-locks. And again, always get the frame as much as you can.
Yeah.
You never want, like I've seen people park in a bike rack and have it locked like this.
Yeah, bye-bye bike.
2 seconds you can pop the front wheel off and just walk away with the bike and then buy a new wheel.
Right.
Wheels
so a cargo bike, it might be expensive. It's an investment, so lock it appropriately, but also keep in mind that it is a fraction of the cost of a big van or a work truck, and you get similar value, and in most cases more value if you're in an urban setting.
Yes. And of course, over time, the expenses of operating this over time are pennies compared to a real vehicle, a gas-powered truck or van. Another note, you often want to have the quality of your lock match the quality of the bike. So if you're buying a $10,000 bike, don't buy a $15 lock. Maybe invest in a $100 or $200 lock.
It's like an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Compared to how much you earn, right?
Exactly.
Huh.
You want to be somewhere in that mix. Another note to think of is if you live in a high theft place, you might still be able to lock your bike outside, because oftentimes you can pay a little bit more on top of your apartment or house insurance and they will cover your bike.
Yeah.
So if it does get stolen, God forbid, hopefully they find it. If not, it could be insured for as little as $5 to $10 a month.